there's been some type of, let's say that there's been some type of disaster. Let me start that over. Let's say that there's been some type of disaster. You and your family have decided that you could no longer make it in the city or in the suburbs, so you decided to head to your bug out location. You get there, you open a can of number 10 can of freeze-dried beef stew, or a number 10 can of chili mac and cheese, and then Mylar bag of rice. Now what? Is that what are your long-term cooking solutions, or your long-term cooking solutions at your bug out location? What we have here is just one example. I posted another video about this as a butchering station. We have just a small pit, cooking surface about 3 foot 4 inches long. The top of the firebox, to make it a little bit better, the top of the firebox needs a hot plate over it so that you can put pots, say cook some beans and stuff while you've got some meat cooking on a freezer. The firebox is rusted out a little bit. Counterweights to help open the lid. Now remember, this is just one example. This is just one example. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff in this video. Here we have a 250-gallon propane tank. The propane can be used for hot water heaters, stoves, and even propane-powered refrigerators. Wood stove like this could be used to heat a couple of rooms. There's a bedroom back there in the back of where the this one, that's a sleeping area, and this is like a sitting area of where this one stove heats up the kitchen, sitting, and sleeping area. This is the propane stove. It goes right out to the propane tank that we just looked at. We used to have this. This is a propane refrigerator. It used to work, but something happened. It doesn't work anymore. The thing about propane is sooner or later it's going to run out. It's more like a comfort thing, is that it's a transitional fuel that you go from cooking from electricity. Well, a lot of people use propane full time, so there's nothing wrong with that. And here we have a homemade wood heater. Notice this one here's got a little flat spot here and here for you to put your coffee pot up here, put your can of beans, pot of rice up here to cook. So whenever the weather's bad outside, propane runs out, that they could stay inside here and eat and cook. This one stove puts out enough heat. Sorry for the out of focus, guys. This camera does not do very well in low light conditions with the focusing. What we have here is a couple of like crawfish cookers, a couple of burners on the outside of the building, just for pots hooked into the propane tank. Is that you could also rig these up to work off a 20-pound propane bottle and have the ability to cook out here on the outside. Still inside the covered area. Notice you're still inside a covered area. So if you do not want to cook inside, that you could fire these up and cook outside without having to heat the house up. What we have here is 2 different stoves. This is your typical 1-pound bottle of propane with a propane stove on top and the base. And here we have a stove, fuel, and 2 serving cups. Now notice the size difference. That even if you had your propane stove, you're still going to have a serving cup for the amount of space that this takes up. With a 1-pound bottle of propane, you can have your stove, fuel, and 2 serving cups. Alright, well, some of y'all may be asking, well, where's the second stove at? I don't see it. Okay. This is a MSR 775 milliliter pot. There's our stove. Take it out. I'm using the towel just like a cushion, keep it from rattling around inside the pot. And then inside the second serving container, we have our bottle of fuel. Let me set that up for you. There you go. Now this little plastic pot, you wouldn't use that to cook in, of course. You wouldn't want to set it up there and melt it off with your stove. You would have, say, cook your noodles on there. Then you can pour them in there, feed a friend, and then cook a second set. Or cook noodles, cook rice, instant rice, whatever you wanted to do. This one here runs off of a blended fuel, butane, propane mixture. It's just a little Coleman Max that I picked up at the local China Mart. I think the stove on here is Coleman, I'm not sure. I've had it now since about 1994, 1995. This is one of my favorite little grills. I built this. It's made out of about 10-inch stainless steel pipe with perforated metal on top. I guess it's about, I don't know, 8 inches tall. The whole thing is a combination of Monel, was it Inconel, and stainless. It's got about 3 different types of metals in there. Most of it's stainless though. So one thing I did to get the grill up, hang on, there we go. This is perforated material, comes out, got a little bit of trash in there from kids and grandkids dropping stuff in there. What you can do, build yourself a fire in there, not with leaves, but use wood. Build yourself a little fire in there, get the coals nice and hot, and on the bottom, that is perforated material as well. Go and dump this over. See, it just breathes. So whenever you build the fire, there's nothing to adjust. It pulls the air straight in from underneath the fire. Just goes straight through the grill. This is 1-inch round bar. Once you get your fire going real nice, take your grill, drop it on there, you're ready to cook. But I recessed the grill a little bit so that you can put hot dogs and stuff on there. Put hot dogs. This is big enough for like one good steak. Let's say that you had this at your bug out location. You should build a fire in there. Throw you a squirrel, rabbit, get you a rabbit or squirrel, quarter the legs up, put it on there, cook it up real good. But this is one of my favorite little grills that I made. Well, along with my big one over there. But I just wanted to show y'all this as an example. I don't know if y'all, let me rephrase that. I don't know how many of y'all have ever grown, say, turnip greens, mustard greens, rutabagas. They produce these really big leaves. You pull up a couple of plants, I mean just a couple of plants. That's enough greens to feed a family for a day. But the thing is, cooking something that big, if you've got your little camp pot that only holds a quart of water, you're not going to cook all your greens. So whenever you pull them up or whenever you cut them. So you're not going to feed a whole family with just a little 1 quart or 2 quart pot. So I like the idea of having a couple of big pots. Cast iron would probably be better than this. I've got a cast iron pot over in my shed that probably holds, say, 2 gallons that I can cook with. This has been out in the yard. I've had it kind of, what this is just your crawfish cooker. You need to wash that out. I had some standing water in there, but oh well. Get this, build yourself a frame, or you can even use an old crawfish boiler to hold it up over the fire. Build your fire, put your greens in there, cook them up, serve them. So I see pots like this as having a use not only for cooking crawfish, but cooking for a large group of people at one time. Is that if you've got a whole bunch of family members coming over, you've got a whole bunch of people coming over, break out your propane crawfish cooker, or even build a fire. Have you a stand, like that stand that I showed you earlier, set this on top of it, put your greens in there, put you a couple of squirrels, a couple of rabbits. You got yourself a nice stew. And no video about cooking will be complete without my barbecue pit. It started out as a 250-gallon butane tank. The firebox is out of a 150-gallon tank, and this grill right here, this hot area, I got to drop down. I lose a lot of convection, a lot of heat in that 1.5 inch. Cooking surface is 29 inches wide, 6'9" long. And I wanted something big enough where I could cook a whole hog or throw a whole deer on there if I needed to. Now what is that? It's like part of a magic marker. I loaned my pit out for a birthday party to a family member. There we go.